Nigel Hicks from Agency Partners. Is it likely to be 100% online booking and direct and no discounting at all and no third party?
Yeah, our intention would be that this will be an online product. You'll buy it online, you'll be able to check it online, and we don't think we'll distribute it through a third party.
Down here at the front.
Hi, it's Matt Smith at Morgan Stanley. For the customer, how independent are these going to be from a web offering? So at the moment, if one Premier Inn is booked up, it will make other suggestions. Is it going to suggest these if they're nearby, or is it going to remain very independent?
We're going to try and be quite clever about it. So when you see Hub, you'll see it's ideally for a 1 or 2 night stay. It's ideal for a single person. So if somebody is booking a family room and they try to book in London, and we won't be offering up Hub as an alternative. But we will, to selected customer segments, will offer this up as an alternative. So we'll use the strength of the Premier Inn brand to actually move customers when we can't satisfy that demand.
So we see Hub having its own website, plus we also see when you go into the Premier Inn website, we will offer up Hub as an option except for the areas that Patrick's just mentioned.
And from a background point of view, in terms of dynamic pricing, are they independent matrices, or are they going to be fully interlinked, or how does that work?
No, they'll be separate. We'll have a separate pricing mechanism for Hub, but we'll keep it, as we said, somewhere around 25% below the price of what we're selling Premier Inn. So if Premier Inn is tonight at King's Cross selling £189, we'll make sure we keep that Hub differential down there, so we don't overprice that product, in order to get really great value for money scores.
Yeah, hi, Jeff Collier from Deutsche. You made a big thing about central London rooms being twice the EBITDA per room of the rest of the estate. Given the efficiencies in design and build on the Hub, is the Hub going to still follow that plan?
What we've said is that at prices up to 30% below a similar Premier Inn, we can deliver the same return on capital as we get with a Premier Inn. Now, clearly, we've also said the capital is lower per room for a Hub than a Premier Inn, so you'd expect the profit per room to be proportionately lower than a similar Premier Inn room. The question is, will we need to discount by as much as 30%? We don't know until we put the product on sale. I think Patrick and I would both be of the view that we can fill these hotels at much less than a 30% discount to Premier Inn, but we'll wait and see. And if that's the case, then the profit per room may actually get closer to the similar profit per room we get for a Premier Inn.
Thanks. It's Jared Castle from UBS. Just two again on Hub. One, would you potentially build any new hotels with kind of restaurants in mind, kind of a joint sites of sorts? And two, will you also offer, a good night's stay guarantee in terms of room for free if you're unhappy?
Well, I didn't quite catch the first question, but the second question about the good night guarantee, some things are really cornerstones of what we do for Premier Inn. I think we're still having that debate, but I think we probably won't do it in Hub, because that's such a key cornerstone of what we do with Premier Inn, good night guaranteed, on our advertising and things. So I'm not sure we will do that in Hub. The first question,
the first question, because Hub is really about city centres and high property cost city centres, we don't do joint sites there anyway, and we certainly wouldn't with Hub. And as you can see, Hub has got a slimmed down F&B offering compared to a Premier Inn, because we know the customer has got many external choices to eat in a busy, high-cost city centre.
Thanks. Tim Ramskill from Credit Suisse. I know you said the focus is on city centres. The product looks a little akin to the sort of Yotel product that people might be familiar with. Any thoughts on the applicability of this in airport locations?
You're gone.
I think, Tim, what we want to do is we want to really focus on getting this in prime city centre locations. I mean, the rates in London are very strong. The rates at the airport are not as strong. And I think the way in which it works is where you've got high land costs, great locations it will work there. I'm not so sure at the moment whether that would work as a standalone at an airport location. So I think we'd like to get it in, get it running, learn from it, and then see where we go. And likewise, I think we'll try Edinburgh as our first city outside of London and see how it works there.
There's a question down here at the front.
Yes, I think of the first 3,000 rooms, 2,500 are going to be in London. Like presumably outside of London, the focus will be limited to a small number of city centres, big city centres. At what point might you consider other cities outside the UK?
I think the first thing we need to do is almost go back to the question around the customer reaction. Until we have got a number of hotels built and we could really see what price we can fill them at, I think will give us some real insights. So theoretically, the concept works in very dense hotel markets where there's high property costs. So theoretically, it will work in some international cities, but that's not the focus we've got for the immediate future. Yeah, Jamie. Sorry, just one down here. Yeah.
Jamie Rollo from Morgan Stanley. Given a hub room is sort of nearly half the size of a normal Premier Inn room, but the profit per room could be approaching the same levels as Premier Inn, are there any sort of London Premier Inns that could be converted to hub? Does that make economic sense?
No. The real benefit of what we see with this and the real driver behind hub is that there are buildings in London and key city centres that we see on quite a regular basis that we cannot build Premier Inns in because it doesn't work for us, doesn't fit in. Hub allows us to unlock a lot of those sites and find sites that we can put Premier in. It wouldn't make economic sense to convert our London properties into them. It's much better for us to go and find office conversion, freehold sites where we can build and get it into that space. And quite often now, our acquisition guys are going out and seeing a site and say, look, this doesn't work as a Premier Inn, but we can make it work for Hub, and vice versa.
And remember, we've said our central London Premier Inns are doing really well.
So I wouldn't want to convert any.
Yeah.
And just following on, what extra marketing, central, other startup costs are involved with this, please?
Well, I think that's what I was talking about. It's going to leverage from the Premier Inn scale. I mean, John has his cluster management structure, so we'll be able to operate these through our Premier Inn structure, through cluster management. In marketing, we'll have somebody with our marketing team responsible for the brand. We have a digital platform where we're able to build our new website for it and plus build it onto premierin.com. So we're going to leverage as much as possible all the things we have within Premier Inn without adding additional cost. Zero. I wouldn't say it's zero, but as close as we can make it.
I'm just wondering how you came to that number of 30% discount to Premier Inn. I mean, what was behind that? Was it customer feedback? And also, if you think about the target demographic, if that's different to Premier Inn, then what is that price point versus your actual competition? And what's the discount versus where those people are currently staying, I guess?
I think it's really, how do we get to that point? Well, we sort of took an educated guess at what we thought. One of the things that we track really carefully in Premier Inn is as we move our price and things like that, we look at that value for money score, our net recommend score that Paul talked about, net rec. What we want to be very careful of is that we don't, I'm sure that St Martin's Lane will run at very high occupancies, and I'm sure we could push the price there. But the damage it would do is we want to grow the brand and put more rooms in. And I think what we need to do as a benchmark is so at Premier Inn at a certain price point, we know the value for money score. It would be great if we could track that at a 30% discount and see what happens on our hub when we open them to make sure what's the correlation. But I think we want to be very careful with it. It is half the size of a Premier Inn bedroom. And I think we want to make sure that we don't just go up in great locations, we don't charge lots of money and not have happy customers. So I think it's sort of an educated guess of where we see it sitting. As I said, if it's 189 in King's Cross the night, if it was selling at 140 on a peak night, I think that's a pretty good guess of where it would be. But we can afford to price it below £100 to start off with.
The rooms that you'll see later have been on sale for really quite some time. So we've had real people paying real money to stay in them. And we've been doing quite a lot of research. And one of the questions we've been asking them is, what price would you pay for that? And we've also been playing with the price. So we've got some data, but as Patrick said, until we've got a full-size hotel, which is standalone, we won't really have some hard information. But the critical thing is we've designed this product to get the cost down, which means we've got an awful lot of pricing manoeuvrability. Yeah.
Just to go back to the kind of joint site analogy, given that you've got 4 rooms in an existing Premier Inn hotel down the road, do you see the opportunity to actually have a Premier Inn stroke hub joint site, or maybe in some of the big new city centre ones, to build some hub rooms alongside a load more Premier Inn?
I think in the starting phase, Jeff, we want to build some standalones. I think there will be some locations, and we have one in London that we didn't do recently, where we had the opportunity to build a Premier Inn with a hub right next door to it. And I think we've got to test and think about, would we eventually maybe have a Premier Inn with some hub rooms above or below it? I think those things are all options for us to explore.
Yeah, I mean, theoretically, we could go down that route, but it's a decision for the future.
Hi, it's Wyn Ellis from Numis again. Did you think about integrating Costa into the food and beverage for the hub?
Well, we couldn't have a Costa cafe. We are thinking about a Costa Express machine.
And why couldn't you have a Costa cafe?
Just because of the space and the footfall.
And we want to serve alcohol in the evening.
Yeah.